So I've been doing a lot of researching on this most recent case. Started digging through the files, went on the streets, got my own notes. Really did a lot of work in here because I just want to start impressing the captain, you know?
Do you feel like you're going to be able to impress him?
Sexually, probably not. Detectively, anything's possible. We're going to be doing, you know which case file, Cloak and Dagger.
It's rated PG. Release date was August 10th of 1984. Looks like a budget we got here is $9.7 million. No, wait. Oh, man, that's how much it made.
Wow.
$9.7 million worldwide.
How much did it cost?
I don't have any information on that.
Okay, you're a good detective, and you
Thanks.
don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
What, you got that?
Nope. Anyway, continue, because this is a grimy little case. This is a tough one, and I just want to solve it.
Well, we got an incident report. Let me read this here. A young boy and his imaginary friend end up on the run while in possession of a top secret spy gadget. All right. Usual suspects. Now, there is a infamous producer on this movie.
Really?
His name is Alan Carr. Does that ring any bells?
Can you drive him?
No.
Okay.
He produced the 61st Annual Academy Award back in 1989. Turns out Walt Disney actually sued the Academy shortly after the ceremony for copyright infringement. No one at the Academy had asked for permission from Disney regarding Snow White or none of their iconic trademark characters utilized in the Academy Award ceremony.
Whoopsie doodles.
Yeah, do you want to watch a little bit of it?
Yeah, that's definitely a Disney Snow White. You know, here's the thing about, God, they were so classy back
I
then.
think he even refers to her as Snow White.
You can call her Snow White because they don't own the name Snow White.
Oh, those are all technically in the public
Those are
domain?
the sexiest stars I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, her voice is grating.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be, right?
I don't think so.
I think they're being funny. You couldn't hit that bright at that pitch. Yeah, so what it is you just can't have the same look because they didn't come up with
Kinda
their
like
grim fairy tales.
Coca-Cola also coming up with the iconic look of the Santa Claus we know today.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I don't like that fact. That's not true. There's no iconic look for Santa Claus. It's just how he looks naturally when you meet him. But yeah, this is interesting. Okay, I think I've seen enough here. So,
Have you though? Because we haven't gotten to the Rob Lowe part of the production.
oh, there's a Rob Lowe.
Yeah, he
I like
actually
Rob Lowe.
sings. He sings Big Wheels Keep On Turning. It
Does
almost,
he?
Yeah, it almost derailed his career.
What? Yeesh. This is interesting. This is actually kind of lame for the Oscars.
Well, that's why I think it ruined Alan Carr's career.
I've seen enough.
So that's Alan Carr. Good producer of movies, not necessarily Academy Award ceremony.
Right. You know what though?
Okay.
Will Smith goes up and smacks Chris Rock, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's a bit. That's funny." Later, realize they go, "That's not a bit. That really happened."
Right.
And if you're Chris Rock, don't you just feel like the whole Hollywood machine has just turned their
Well,
back on
I
you?
felt like they knew it was real when he started to yell, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth."
And you know what's so funny about Will
Because
saying that?
before that, if
Keep
he
your-
didn't say
yeah.
anything, people would have been sort of
Right.
gobsmacked.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely gobsmacked, Jared. Totally agree. They would have been flabbergasted.
Yeah.
They would have been kerfuddled.
They wouldn't have known how to handle the situation.
would have had butterscotch
He just
coming out
walked
their
up,
ears.
slapped him across the
Right.
face. Why- Okay, my other question was,
Yes.
how come there was no sound?
What do you mean?
It was just sort of,
Because this is.
I thought it
This
would
is
make-
how it is.
okay.
See, that's
Oh
it.
my gosh, it
Here's
was
the thing.
silent completely.
Will Smith goes.
It made no noise whatsoever.
My slaps are like an owl in flight, completely silent. Will Smith goes, "Keep my wife's name out your mouth." And I get it. They have some weird open relationship where they bring people over and they both try to them in their mansion and stuff. But it's
Right.
just like, shouldn't you be saying like, "Keep your wife's tits out your mouth"?
Okay.
Anyway, back to Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah.
We're really focusing on.
That's the producer, Alan Carr. R.I.P. to him and R.I.P. to his career after 1989.
Ouch.
Let me pull out this file. Distributor, Universal Pictures.
Oh yeah.
I want to read to you a couple of their hits in 1984, starting with Dune,
Yep.
Streets of Fire.
Oh yeah. Oh, have you seen Streets of Fire?
No, I haven't.
Dude, that one's sweet. Streets of Fire. You got a young Bill Paxton.
Yeah, okay. The Last Starfighter, 16 Candles, Firestarter, Conan the Destroyer,
Oh yeah.
Repo Man with Emilio Estevez.
Oh, yeah. Who don't like Emilio Estevez, man? Emilio!
So those were the movies that all came out for Universal Pictures in 1984.
Question, how come they never made a 17 Candles or an 18 Candles? Because the first one was so popular.
21 Candles.
They did do that.
There's a couple of ages that I think should be highlighted in a person's life.
Yes.
And they all end at 21.
Really?
I think so. Who wants to celebrate anything else? I guess 40.
35?
No one says that. So prime suspects, the writer, Tom Holland, Spider-Man himself.
Yes.
No, I don't have any information.
You got the, hang on, I got it right here. Give me a second. Ooh.
What are you looking at?
Hang on, I got stuff here. Give me.
Take your time.
Give me just, everyone just, okay, just calm down.
All right, no one's.
All right, I got Tom
no one's pressuring
Holland.
you.
He wrote Cloak and Dagger. Okay, here's what we got, okay? So he's involved in Fright Night.
Oh.
I also like the remake because I'm a sucker for Colin Farrell. He did Stephen King's Thinner from 1996. He does a lot of horror and thrillers. He's also won a Saturn Award. Saturn Award is a sci-fi horror fantasy film award. So you either do sci-fi, horror, or fantasy. And then I believe later on they decided to just add thriller as well. Cool. Yeah, he won the Saturn Award. He also won the Dario Argento Award.
Whoa.
Do you know who Dario Argento is, Jared? Have you seen movies like Inferno, Demons, Deep Red, Cat o' Nine Tails,
Does he make
Suspiria?
Giallo films?
Bing, 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 Giallo films, Jared. And why don't you explain to the audience why they're called Giallo films?
I have no idea.
Go ahead, Jared Bear.
Okay. Eli Roth.
Let me cut you off right there, right? We don't got time for it. That's Tom Holland. So that's one of the writers that's involved. I had to fly all the way to Texas to get that information because my internet was out at home.
I actually queued up a couple of his movies trailers. Here we go.
Oh.
So I just wanted to pop one of these over to you. This is Psycho 2.
Oh, okay.
1983.
Sweet.
So let's take a little gander at that.
Norman was not convicted.
Classic sequel showing mainly footage of the original.
Why not when you've already made a perfect movie?
Who is this? My mother is dead.
That's kind of a weird way to answer a phone. Who is this? My mother is dead.
Well, I'm sure they said something on
They're
the other side.
right
Jared.
now? Oh, right.
Phones are two-way machines, kind of like you at the club. Yeah, but there's no like fun twist at the end, right? Because we.
I think here's a twist. No one's on the other side of that phone.
Oh, that's a fun twist.
Here,
Yeah.
what was just your initial thoughts of that trailer?
Psycho
that you saw?
2?
Yeah. Do you think it was like trying to cash in, or do you think this writer
easily
director had
trying
an
to
idea?
cash in.
Okay.
Probably trying to cash in, but also they probably just like, well, I love the movie so much, I want to do something with it as well.
Yeah.
But I have
like
no
that.
idea. All I know is that that's a real tough follow up because
Right.
like Psycho's. Now you're gonna try and do a second one? Why would they can let that guy out anyway? You guys gotta watch the movie to find out.
I guess it's true. Another one that Tom Holland wrote was called Scream for Help.
Yeah.
I think we might appreciate this one.
Let's see what this is all about.
New thriller. Scream for help.
I'm upset because my stepfather just tried to murder my mother.
Christy, don't talk like that.
How does she know what Christy don't talk like?
Christy don't talk like that.
Don't believe me. Just wait until he kills you.
This is wretched.
I love that line.
No, this is bad.
Don't believe me. Just wait till he kills you. That's what I say all the time about the PFK.
That's true. This is horrible.
But instead, she came face to face with a new terror.
Yeah, you
Whoa.
mess with my lady.
Oh, do you think that's what she did? She just found some dude.
Yeah, so just from the trailer, I bet it's not the stepdad. I bet it's her lover.
She's like, I'll sleep with you if you kill my stepdad.
I bet her boyfriend is the one doing all this. That did not look good whatsoever.
Within like 3 seconds of a trailer, it had like murder and sex.
I get that walking home.
That's true. I should tell you.
I could walk in the morgue
stop
and get that
walking
exact
across
same
the
thing.
bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I'm sorry.
I could walk downstairs to the morgue and get that exact thing. Murder and sex.
Okay.
I don't need to watch a movie to see that.
Oh, also for the writers, did you have something else you wanted to add after Tom Holland?
I got a bunch of stuff I want to add, okay?
Oh,
Okay, so there's this one broad.
Nancy Dowd,
Yeah, how'd you know? She did Coming Home. You know that movie, Coming Home?
1979.
Sure, and she won an Oscar for it. She also did Slapshot starring our boy, the king of salad dressing, who is...
Paul Newman.
Good job, Jared.
my
So she also goes by other names. Ernest Morton.
What?
Rob Morton.
No.
Or uncredited.
Why?
I don't know. Couldn't find it. But then I found a link to a podcast of these people talking about broads to watch out for. That was the episode of the name of the podcast. And they started talking about Nancy Dowd.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, they're not really talking about Nancy Dowd. They're talking about themselves.
Well, she was unaccredited as a screenwriter for this movie.
Yeah. And another writer that I have here is Cornell Woolrich.
Short story. The boy.
No, that's a man. That's a man. That's a man. And he is a mystery writer who really took off in the 20s. Anyway, so the movie Cloak and Dagger is based off of a short story called The Boy Who Cried Murder. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He had trouble living with his mother. He didn't really like her. And then he died alone and nobody went to his funeral. So there's the catch up on a guy who died in the 60s. Here's the thing. He was born in 1903. He died in 1968. That's kind of a crazy spread.
Right.
You're going from hating black people to wanting to sleep with them and doing cocaine.
Something else I wanted to mention too, there was another film adapted from the short story.
Yeah.
It was called The Window in 1949. And that starred the Disney kid Bobby Driscoll.
Who's that?
You never heard about the tragedy of Bobby Driscoll?
No, he sounds like the schoolyard bully for every single child across America.
Well, he might have been.
Right.
Because he was a Disney star. He was the voice of Peter Pan.
Fair enough.
And also, he became addicted to drugs.
Who doesn't?
Ended up dying in an abandoned East Village apartment. A pauper's death.
Okay, so why is that called a pauper's death, though?
Oh, nobody claimed him for a very long time.
Pauper's death, huh?
Yeah.
I want a pauper's death.
If you keep going home that same direction, you might.
Sweet.
All right. Oh, looks like it's my turn here. Director Richard Franklin. Profile on this guy. He's an Australian. Graduated from Monash University in Melbourne. Worked as an assistant cameraman at a television advertising company and eventually went to America and attended the University of Southern California in 1967.
67.
Again, we're talking about another graduate from USC. He's also quoted in saying he'd always wanted to do a childhood thriller movie.
Huh.
Interesting fact. While studying at USC, Franklin got Hitchcock to do a Q&A session. Intern invited Franklin to watch him work on the set of his movie Topaz. So Richard Franklin was a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay.
Much like James Cameron was a big fan of Ridley Scott.
Okay.
And he wanted to do the sequel, Psycho 2. So I guess this is the second time he worked with the writer Tom Holland, aka not Spider-Man. Now, the thing that I feel Richard Franklin did wrong was not put a money sign when he was writing Psycho on the pitch board.
That would have been cool. I guess he didn't need to, because
on the board during the pitch meeting.
Yeah.
I guess is a better way of saying it.
You can say a pitch board. That sounds cool.
Is that... Well, also Richard Franklin did a movie called Road Games in 1981 with Jamie Lee Curtis. That's about a truck driver who must stop a serial killer who is framing him for murders in order to clear his name.
Oh, yeah.
I got it queued up here. Do you want to watch it again?
Sure, go for it.
Road Games.
That's Stacy Keach right there.
I like Stacy Keach. My favorite stuff he's done is the Twilight radio dramas starring Stacy Keach. Is that Jamie Lee Curtis? In the back of Jamie Lee Curtis, I look like that in the back. I have the same length hair.
You can imagine the director right now being, oh yeah, I want the guitar string to pass those supple lips.
What if the director's a woman?
No, it's Richard Franklin. What if he identifies as one is what
Hey,
you're
you
asking?
never know, baby. See, this movie looks stupid, but I would watch it like if I was in a motel on a road trip.
I had seen it.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was really boring.
Okay. Yeah.
However, it started to make me think that maybe Stacy Keach's character was actually a serial killer and was imagining he's chasing after a serial killer while he himself was doing the crime.
That sounds like a good movie.
And I was like, holy crap, if that's true, this movie's way ahead of its time.
That's not what it was?
It should be more well known. This is the reason
That's
why.
not what it was, though.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And then he did Link in 1986, and that stars a very young Elizabeth Shue about a homicidal chimpanzee and an experiment in terror. I have that one queued up if you do want to see it.
I mean, you already have it all queued up.
Sure.
For centuries, the link between man and the primates has been shrouded
Oh, this
in
looks like
darkness.
trash. I don't like animal movies.
Oh!
See, I don't do that. No.
Well, you know what I just noticed in that shot there?
She had a nice ass.
Richard Franklin likes to do a
Behind the
dead
back
body
grab.
drop.
Ah, okay. I feel bad for the animals.
What about little people dressed as chimpanzees?
That's just funny.
Okay. Because I think that's majority of them. Let's see. Quote.
Give it to us, Richard. Because you know what? We keep saying Richard Franklin, Richard Franklin. You go out to the average Joe Schmo and you say, hey, we're going to be showing a Richard Franklin movie this week. Come on down. They're going to go, who?
True. Okay. Quote, he says, I like to work fast.
Okay.
I see no advantage on trying something 20 different ways to come back to the way you should have done it in the first place.
The end of this quote sounds like he's lazy, but keep going.
That's about it.
I feel like there's other directors like, well, we're going to do another take. Why? Because we love making movies.
That's Quentin Tarantino.
Righto.
All right. Well, what else you got? Cinematographer. Tell me.
I got that covered, okay? All right, so Victor J. Kemper, he's done movies such as Dog Day Afternoon. Have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Did you like it?
That was a great movie.
Yes. As soon as he realizes he needs a sex change, I was like, oh, this movie reminds me of Jared. He's done National Lampoon's Vacations, one of my favorite.
Look at the range.
Yes, I love it. He's done The Jerk, Mr. Mom, Tommy Boy. He has done Clue. What? Victor J. Kemper, possibly Jared's favorite cinematographer now. He's done Jingle All the Way, one of the best, if not the best Christmas movies ever. That's Jingle All the Way. That's neither here nor there.
We got to talk about the editor, Andrew London.
Andrew London, the editor of Cloak and Dagger.
This guy has edited 25 projects, but mainly edited for Richard Franklin.
Oh.
Psycho 2 in 1983,
Yeesh.
Link in 1986, and FX2 in 1991.
So Richard Franklin hasn't really done. What's the biggest movie this guy's done? Because they're nothing movies.
I'd probably say Psycho 2. Let me look here. Here we go. Composer, Brian May. He's an Australian film composer and conductor who was a prominent figure during the Australian New Wave.
But this guy worked on Mad Max 1 and 2.
Right, as the
Wow.
composer. Brian May also composed Road Games with Richard Franklin. Looks like he composed Sky Pirates, an Australian film adventure inspired by Steven Spielberg's Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981. And you better believe I have that queued up.
You have it queued up, Jared?
Ready for us to watch.
You know what? I'm going to pass.
Okay. The fourth and final film I want to talk about that Brian May composed was Canon Films' classic Missing in Action Part 2, The Beginning.
Right.
So, what was Mission in Action Part 1? The prequel?
No. Because Mission in Action Part 2, The Beginning, that's the prequel. Another movie I was watching recently is Phantom of the Mall.
Oh.
Eric's Revenge. So right away, you know who's killing people. It's Eric. But yet they still keep him secretive. It's so dumb.
Do you want to watch this movie?
Yes.
All
Let
right,
me
let's
just pop this little thingy in here. There you go. And it's going.
The most exciting game Davey ever played
Oh, you got me.
was Cloak and Dagger.
Cloak and
No
Dagger.
one could believe how much he liked it.
Time
Now,
to go,
correct me if
Jack.
I'm wrong, Jared. You've seen this movie before.
Yes.
You said it was one of your favorite movies as a child.
Believe that the game could become real.
You said something where you cut a hole into the VHS box set of this movie because you loved it as a child, where you would run through scenarios in your head growing up in San Antonio being chased by grown men. Right or wrong?
The star of E.T., Henry Thomas, and Dabney Coleman as Jack Flack in Cloak and Dagger.
Let's do this. I'm going to run through my special notes here. I went all the way to Oregon.
Oh, you want to
for
talk
one.
about the Patsies first?
Who do you want to talk about?
Well, I was just going to go through the plot points of the movie, but let's talk about the
Let's
Patsies.
do the Patsies.
Uh-huh.
So now when we go through the plot points, I know
We
exactly who we're
understand.
talking about. But here's what we got, okay? First off, we got our lead boy. That's what they used to call you, Jared. They used to call you lead boy back when you were at the Mormon church. Anyway, Henry Thomas. Y'all know Henry Thomas. He's in a little movie called E.T. the Extraterrestrial, obviously done by Steven Spielberg. That was not his breakout role, though. Henry Thomas has done a movie called Raggedy Man. Yes. And that movie was a Universal picture. And so then because of Raggedy Man, people at Universal saw this boy, and Steven Spielberg said, oh, I want him to audition for E.T. The story goes, but not proven, Henry Thomas's audition for the role of Elliot in E.T. made Steven Spielberg cry. Who cares? You most recently have seen Henry Thomas in The Haunting of Hill House. He is a young Hugh Crane. Yeah. He's on that Netflix show where the first season was awesome and the second season was you know that one? Where is he now? Is that what you're asking, Jared? Good question. He's done, really. He doesn't do the LA machine anymore. He's not part of that life. He now lives on a farm. He said, I grew up on a farm and I want my kids to have that experience of growing up on a farm. Let's keep moving here.
Well, before we move on to the next one, I also found out that like every movie for at least a decade after he started in E.T. advertised him as the star of E.T. There was even a poster of E.T., the Atari video game, in the movie Cloak and Dagger when he was in the video store.
Oh, that's cool. That makes sense, though, because E.T. and that movie are very close to each other. You know, they're in, like, the same decade.
Yep.
It'd be hilarious if, like, in Haunting of Hill House, this time he's going to phone hell. And you're like, why are they still selling this guy like he's a child? Anyway, so then the other one, my favorite child actor.
You're talking about Kim?
Now. She plays Kim, but her name is Christina. What's her last name, Jared?
Nigra.
We'll go with that. So Christina N, she's done movies, the Twilight Zone movie, and then they had that big scene with the helicopter, and it killed the actor and the children. Anyway, so Christina M, she's now a lawyer. She is a writer, a producer.
No, you said Christina N.
Yes.
N as in...
As in her last name. She's a lawyer. And you're probably wondering, what's that, Jared? What kind of law does she do? She handles commercial real estate. She does affordable housing tax credit transitions, employment law. She does investigation, defense, construction law. Sounds like a bore. I scrolled up on her Instagram as well, popped into her Indeed. I had to sign up to get some of this info. Oh. She went to law school out in California way, and I think a little bit in Florida. And she has a shirt that says, "Be kind to animals or I'll kill you."
That's a pretty intense shirt.
It is intense because now with that mindset, I might be walking down the street and I see a coyote attacking a child. And then I run over there and I start beating up the coyote and the child runs away. But then Christina N, the lawyer who's going to throw my ass in jail and PETA activist, drives by, sees me beating the coyote. And then she kills me because I just technically saved a child? I think it's a little bit messed up, but that's what she's doing now. She plays Kim. This movie, she was perfect. My one thing, they should have had more Kim.
So what was her relationship with Davey?
Next door neighbor, best friend.
What was her deal with her mom? There were like two grown women.
And I think that's the right way to do it
having
because
conversations.
She's a single mother, but I think it's very smart to also let your young daughter into your world and tell her what's going on because then it's going to prepare her better for the future. So she was treating her daughter with a lot of respect, but if you're real with them and you tell them, hey, mommy's hurt too, and I'm hurting because I don't have a husband, he left me, but I want you to know you go through pain and then time heals wounds and you just keep moving. Let's move on.
Okay.
The guy who portrayed Jack Flack and Hal Osborne. He's worked with everyone from Steve Buscemi to Dolly Parton to Kermit the Frog. But the most interesting thing I found out about Mr. Dabney Coleman, most interesting thing I found out about Dabney Coleman is that he is a Life Source water system customer since 2000.
What's that?
It's a water filtration system. It doesn't stop there.
Did you get a warrant from the district attorney to get that information?
No. I went old-fashioned, PI type, dressing up as a woman, sneaking into places, fondling,
asking questions,
flirting, going into the records. He's not the only famous customer that own a Life Source water system. Names like Elijah Wood, Ziggy and Orly Marley, Bryan Cranston, James Vanderbeek from Dancing with the Stars, Smokey Robinson, Bill Goldberg, Rob Schneider, and many more all own Life Source water systems. So that's what I got. That's my investigation.
Just a couple brief things to add here. Then we also have Michael Murphy as Rice. Dr. Rice.
Yeah.
That's all I got on him. He's the bad guy.
Yeah, I didn't look him up.
He's that guy, I would say.
What do you mean he's that guy?
You recognize him if you saw him, but you wouldn't know his name. Here, let me paint you a picture. So you're watching a movie, let's say, with Dirty Deborah.
What'd you call her?
Deborah.
That's right.
And it's like it's a pretty intricate movie, right? It's got a lot of moving parts to it. Maybe you should pay attention to what's happening in the actual movie. Mm-hmm. And let's say, I don't know, Michael Murphy shows up. Mm-hmm. She just goes, Who is that? Who is that? 20 minutes goes by,
Yeah.
still grinding, like, oh, I want to know who it is.
Right.
And a lot of pertinent information, and now you're
Right.
kind of maybe lost in the movie.
So then you just
And then
end
all
up
of a sudden she goes,
saying-
oh, I know who he was. He was the bad guy on Cloak and Dagger.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that doesn't happen to me and Deborah.
Oh, that's
have you ever heard of Netflix and chill, Jared? Do you know what the chill part is? Well, you know me, I don't like streaming services. So me and Dirty Deborah, we do Harkins and chill. And let's just say we chill. We chill long and hard.
Well, that's great. Okay. Jeanette Nolan and John McIntyre, I want to talk to you about them. They were the McCreadys, and they were a real life couple.
Did I not call it?
You did.
And I saw him at the Alamo, clarified my detective hunch.
Let's talk about the plot.
Let's do it. This is a very interesting movie. The plot of Cloak and Dagger.
Davy Osborne, played by Henry Thomas, is a young boy who likes to do the role-playing game Cloak and Dagger.
Which is kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but with a James Bond veil over it.
Great analogy. Now, his father is aloof after his wife, Davy's mother, had passed away. Davy wants to connect with his father, but he can't. So he creates an idealized version of his father to interact with. And that is Jack Flack. Jack Flack, who is based on a Cloak and Dagger character.
Davey wants to connect with his father.
Sure. I do that to you all the time.
I didn't. How did
Like,
Davey didn't?
I don't know how to
his
really
father.
interact with you, Jonathan.
Okay.
So I have to create sourdough and just project what I want Jonathan to be into sourdough.
Because sourdough ain't no snitch. So you can do whatever you want to him. And he won't say anything. And that's why you like sourdough. Here's the thing. In the movie, it doesn't really show that Davey wants to hang out with his dad.
And he doesn't really seem like he's affected at all
That's what I'm
by
saying.
his mom
Right.
passing away.
No, he was happy.
He's like, hey, listen, I understand life happens. People die.
Yeah.
Especially the world I live in, which is espionage.
Oh.
That's what he says.
My parents never really talked to me about death. Like, my grandma passed away. And my grandpa passed
Recently?
away. Well, no, a while ago, back when they were both babysitting me. And
Hold on, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Sourdough.
Yeah.
Your grandparents died while they were babysitting you?
Yeah, my
Whoa.
dad's parents did. And then my mom's parents, they passed away when they were babysitting me later on. And they never really explained to
Let me
me.
stop you right there. You're saying that your relatives are passing away as they're babysitting you?
Yeah, well, you're making it feel like it's almost all my relatives, but it's not all my relatives.
No, I'm just saying that
It's
there's a
'cause it's
little
also
bit
neighbors too. It's not just my relatives.
Yeah, I would say that. Wait,
It's
hold
like
on.
a lot of people.
You're saying when anybody babysits you, they mysteriously die?
No, it's not a mystery. People fell down the stairs, fires, TV falls on them, brakes are cut, they slip on a knife on their back. It's just weird stuff. We can go, you know what? Later on, we'll go downstairs,
Yeah.
we'll go through the records and we'll read up some stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, even up into my late 20s, I never understood death. So it's just very difficult for me. And that's why it took me so long to become a detective.
Well, I think maybe
Goldfish.
you also became a detective to understand why so much death surrounds you, mysterious death surrounds you, and you want to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Sure.
That makes sense. You know what I liked about Jack Flack and Davy's father?
Yeah.
They were played by the same character.
Yeah, I am an
I'm
idiot.
sorry, they
and
were
I-
played by the same actor.
And I did not realize that until maybe 50 minutes into the movie. I was like, wait,
Well, sure.
is that the same guy?
Yeah, because the actor, when he played the father, Hal, I believe he said.
Yeah.
He was a stern and
He was, but he was also fair.
yeah.
And and I'm very
But
calm
the
because you
cop
lost your mother.
Did say
Yeah.
that if there was a war, well, I'd hope he'd be on my side.
Right.
Because Davy wasn't going to turn. He wasn't going to give away his sword.
Hell no, he's not.
Yeah, his mentor, Jack Flack, was telling him exactly what to do
Yep.
and when to do it. And Jack Flack was debonair and charismatic, while Dabby Coleman also played the stern father,
Right.
who was graying around the temples and just very an ordinary average guy.
He was, but he also, yeah.
Good dynamic. All right, so Cloak and Dagger. It was a dark kids film, which is weird if you think about it, because in the 80s, they made action figures of Aliens, RoboCop, Terminator,
Yep.
Rambo.
Which, as I get older, I realize Rambo isn't a movie to be like, America, baby. Rambos are movies to be like, shame on you, America. tisk tisk.
Yeah, they
It's so
essentially
crazy.
create and manufacture weapons, and then they don't know what to do with them as soon as they're done.
It hit me different as a young 31-year-old teen.
And so, much to the director, Richard Franklin's passion, I guess, if you will, was to endanger the lives of children on film.
Yeah, we've all
And
had
this
that.
happened on many occasions in Cloak and Dagger. Because essentially, Davy gets caught up in an actual conspiracy right away. And the perpetrators, they're not at all swayed or deterred that Davy is, in fact, a kid.
It was good.
The game Cloak and Dagger is used in the film is actually a real arcade game that was released by Atari, but it was never ported to the console due to the video game crash in 1983. Do you know the biggest game that contributed to the crash in 1983?
Mario Brothers.
No, it was E.T.
No.
The Atari video game
Oh,
that
no.
also starred
Oh my God.
Henry Thomas.
Get out of here.
So the movie actually kicks off when Davy and Kim are on a mission to get Twinkies for Morris, the game shop owner. Now, can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
Morris, the game shop owner.
Yeah.
What's exactly his relationship with Davy and Kim?
He owns the game store. Obviously, Kim and Davy hang out at that store a lot, and he lets the kids hang out there. And I think that's nice because Davy's father, Hal Osborne, works for the U.S. government.
Now, here's where I would have liked.
Yeah.
To add a little bit more stakes to the screenplay, Morris was Morris Osborne, Hal's younger brother, who was essentially tasked with raising, or I'm sorry, babysitting Davy while Hal was at work.
No.
You don't like it? I think it just probably would have helped out a little bit more the fact that this grown man was in a back room with two children.
No.
There's
good people out there, Jared.
Being a detective for several decades.
Yeah.
I don't see any more good in people. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's your problem.
Okay.
You just got to get deep in those people and you'll find some good in them. You find a kindness.
Well, how deep do I need to get into somebody before I find? Okay.
Personally, with your setup, you probably can't even get there. Because you look at people.
When you say setup, can you like maybe put that into a physical attribute that I have?
Talking about your heart.
Thanks.
You need to have a big heart, buddy boy.
Okay. All right. So as Davy and Kim are separated while on the mission to get the Twinkies for Morris, not Hal's younger brother, Davy stumbles upon a mortally wounded scientist who hands Davy a game cartridge titled Cloak and Dagger. And he gives him a verbal code to gain access to a hidden military secret in the cartridge's microchip.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. Coming at you, right? In a white lab coat. He's bleeding out. Okay, he's dying. He's like, 7, 10, 24. 6. As a kid, processing all of this.
Okay.
Is this guy okay? Why is he wearing a lab coat? Do they have laboratories here?
Right.
Are you really supposed to memorize this?
No, yeah. So Davy is able to memorize these numbers because he's playing pretend.
Well, he's got Jack Flack with him.
Jack Flack's a figment of his imagination.
And he's always there saying, hey, man, life's an espionage.
Right.
And then why would a scientist in the death throes of his life hand over a video game cartridge of top secret military intelligence to a child?
He has no other option because he was being chased by the bad guys.
That's true. So he does the signature Victor J. Kemper camera angle with a dead body flying down a stairwell. Now, Davy does seek help from the authorities, but they disbelieve him because the dead scientist cannot be found.
Yeah, no, they
don't know where he is.
They sweep the place.
Now, do you remember how Dr. Rice, the lead of the spies, do you know how he found out where Davy was or even his name?
Oh, I don't remember. Did Davy drop something with his...
It was a softball.
Yep, that's right.
Davy had a softball that he used as a grenade.
Pretend grenade.
Yeah.
And
Says,
there's
hi,
address.
my name's Davy.
Yep.
If you're looking for your missing Cloak and Dagger cartridge with military intelligence on it, you can find me at this number.
He didn't say that.
And address.
You're a liar.
Now,
did you ever do that?
No, I never wrote my name on anything.
I always write my initials on my balls.
The riverboat chase. That's when I feel like we found out that the spies would really kill Davy.
Am I wrong? Once the scientists handed Davy the cartridge and the anti-Americans came out that door, didn't one of them shoot at Davy? They shot at him.
They did.
Right off the bat, I looked at you and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, they want to get this kid. And that's the whole theme to the movie is they have no remorse. None of them get a conscience. It's not like later on in the movie, one of them turns and goes, I didn't sign up for this. Nothing. They're just like, the mission is to get this cartridge and execute anybody who's in our way.
Okay,
Yes.
so Morris's death. I did want to like talk about Davy's reaction when the trunk was lifted and you see Morris's dead body. And then Davy also had to get in the trunk with Morris's dead body.
I thought that was great. And what I really like is if Davy has any slight hesitance or doesn't understand what to do, Jack Flack would pop up and he would just be like, come on, kid, you got to do it.
He never abandoned Davy. And I
No,
appreciate
because
that.
it's in his head, Jared.
I also have here Kim and her sultry mother. We don't have to talk about that. We already talked about that.
Sultry?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I felt like it was really interesting when, Kim's mother was like, well, who are you talking to on the phone? And then Kim's like, oh, relax. I'm talking to Davy's father.
Yeah.
You won't be interested in him because he's got something you're not interested in, somebody who has kids. The three-fingered spies. The McCreadys.
The McCreadys, I like that they're in there, and I like that they were the main baddies.
Miss McCready.
Yeah. When
'Cause
she
it was
revealed
Mr.
herself, oh, baby.
Well, she took her white glove off
Oh.
and revealed the three fingers.
Yes.
And now, as a 6-year-old child in 1986, I thought she was an alien.
Right. So you watching this movie, knowing, because they tell you in the movie, the person with the three fingers, the da-da-da-da.
I wouldn't know what that would look like.
Then the lady shows she has three fingers. The music goes, and it's for you to be like, oh. And you're sitting there watching it going, oh, she's an alien. Oops.
Sourdough, can I ask you an honest question?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on a crossfire gambit? Good or bad?
Here's a crossfire gambit.
Thank you.
You have criminal A and criminal B at opposite ends of an alley.
Sure.
And don't go between them.
Unless
So
you do the crossfire,
gambit where you run across this kill zone and you're hoping that they shoot the other person at the end of the alley and not shoot you. But to egg on our faces, it worked.
It did work.
He got away with it. The crossfire gambit almost works every time. But also, you
As
know
Jack
what,
Black
dude?
does say.
Be careful what you wish for, Davey. You were begging for this lifestyle the second the movie started, and then you got it.
Well, we can just jump right ahead of there. So Davey talks to Jack
Yes.
and says, I told you I didn't like guns. I told you I didn't want to kill anybody.
Yep.
You forced me into it. Mm-hmm. I blame you.
Yes.
Jack Flack says something that's kind of interesting at that point.
What'd he say?
He says, this is the point where you stop believing. I hate it when kids stop believing.
Yeah.
It's time for me to go. Is Jack Flack some sort of god of trickery and imagination where he takes the form of any type of childlike wonder to help them grow to become an adult?
Right. Oh,
So
you're right.
Is he also related to maybe Drop Dead Fred?
I see what you mean here. That's cool.
Now, just, after years of being a gumshoe or detective here in the junk, what did you think of that cab driver's motivation to give Davey, who is a young boy, at the time, a ride to the airport? Or let alone responsible for taking
Exactly. Like,
a
I'm just
unchaperoned child to a airport.
Right. It's like they got a
transport.
little bit lazy in that part. And like, okay.
Now, there was a special cameo there by a comedian, Louis Anderson.
Oh, okay.
However, he was not, unfortunately, the cab driver that drove Davey to the airport.
Yeah.
Davey ends up coming across a bomb.
They put a bomb in Kim's walkie-talkie.
To give to Kim. And Davey realizes this and he comes across it and then brings it over with him to the airport. Davey ends up trying to stop the McCreadys from getting onto the plane with the secrets.
Yes.
With the government secrets.
Yeah.
He ends up getting, I guess, quote unquote, kidnapped by the McCreadys.
Why did you say, whoa?
What?
It's very cut and dry what kidnapping is, Jared.
Sure.
You have such a loose laissez-faire. Is it not kidnapping? Why do you always do that when we talk about
Sometimes
this
I feel a kid does have some agency on what they want or don't want to do.
No.
You just got to ask them.
Kids aren't allowed to decide what they eat. They aren't allowed to decide what they wear. They 100% are allowed to decide if they want a sex change. That's fine. But other than that, you need to be responsible for the child.
Well, I think as an adult, we need to listen instead of talking to them.
Oh, look at you. Okay.
Yeah. So unaware that Davey has brought a bomb onto the plane that the spies now plan on using to escape, They're like literally on the runway in an abandoned airplane. So the authorities realize that Hal, Davy's father, is a military pilot.
Yes.
He like works on airplanes and
Yes.
aircraft.
And Hal
stuff
goes,
like that.
that's my kid. I'm going out there.
And here's my favorite part.
Yes.
Because Davy doesn't know that his dad is on the plane
Yeah,
now.
he has no idea.
So he realizes he can get Davy's attention by identifying himself as Jack Flack.
Oh my God. You're going to make me cry right now.
This is important.
Oh my gosh.
So my other favorite part is the attempt for the bomb dismantlement. When Mr. McCready basically starts yanking
Yes.
wires from
Which I get.
C4.
Why not? What else are you gonna do at that point?
Right.
Like they were so old, they're like, we need to spice up our lives.
They got
we
maybe,
became spies.
I agree, maybe 5 to 6 years left.
Yeah.
Before
so they
you
didn't
know,
give a
things really
fudge.
turn.
It was yeah.
Right. Davy's now in the cockpit with his dad, and his dad knows how planes work, so he's able to like get out a panel
Yep.
and lower Davy to safety.
Yes.
However, not real safety. Because remember the last time I tried to lower you off a plane?
Yes.
Yeah, it took you like weeks for your knee to heal.
Yeah, it did.
Because that plane went right over your legs.
Yeah.
I realize now I never actually acknowledged I did that or apologized for
It's
it.
okay.
Okay.
I don't accept your apology whatsoever.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep saying it until you're tired of hearing it, and then you forgive me.
Oh, good luck.
So I'm sorry.
The suspense of him going out the plane and then the dad not.
Oh well, yeah.
My heart was pumping, and I was like, "You cannot do this to Davy. He cannot lose his father."
And Henry Thomas does what he does best.
Yes.
Makes Steven Spielberg cry.
Boom! Explosion.
Fills the screen.
Fire
Davy's
from hell.
blown back.
Yep.
Shadowy figure comes out.
Yes.
Now he's wearing.
I didn't know what it was. I was like, "Is it Jack Flack or not?"
Are we in Davy's imagination?
The explosion's so big, you know? It's just like, no, he didn't. Wow. I stood up and started clapping.
And he says, Jack Flack always escapes Davy.
Damn.
And what does Davy say?
He says, I don't need a Turbo Man doll. I have the real one at home.
That is hilarious because that's exactly what I have right here in my notes. Which is so crazy because your cinematographer, my favorite
Jingle All the
cinematographer,
Way?
Victor J. Kemper,
Yes.
did Jingle All the Way.
Oh my God,
And
that's
I guarantee you that he told the director, he's like, no, I know exactly what he should
Trust
tell Arnold Schwarzenegger. He should say, I don't need him anymore. I got you, Dad.
Hell yeah.
Did Jingle All the Way.
Yes.
Steal this line from 1984's Cloak and
Why
Dagger.
not? They say there's no
Yeah.
new ideas.
Yeah. Jonathan, do you forgive me?
Sure.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I'll take that. Do you want to talk about box office now?
I do, because now I need to know how much we made.
Okay. Originally released as a double feature with The Last Starfighter in 1984, but it was released by itself a month later. Now, this is who it was competing against.
Okay.
Get ready. Red Dawn. The Karate Kid.
God.
Purple Rain. Revenge of the Nerds.
God.
Ghostbusters.
Oh my God.
Gremlins.
I'm going to have to say it's at the bottom, dude.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's a tough roster to go up against. They really did not do their research and released it when they were dead in the box office.
Yep.
Oof.
Deductions. Key to the City. We already know who
Kim.
you're going to give it to.
Kim.
Absolutely.
Nobody else.
I won't even argue with that.
Yeah, no, Kim.
Fall Guy, who was the worst person of this movie?
Everyone's so good in this movie.
I think they all played their part pretty well.
They all did such a fine job. I
Didn't agree with you more.
This movie doesn't have that.
Flashback, best scene of the movie?
Best scene in the movie.
Gotta be the end.
The explosion. Dad
Yeah.
walks out.
Think it's Jack Flack?
And you're trying to compete against an imaginary friend. God. And it's just like, how am I supposed to compete with that, Davey? I have to go to work today.
Red herring, worst scene of the movie.
If you're going to do the Alamo scene, have the tour guide being like, some say this is where Davy Crockett had his final stand as he saw the invading army, and Davy's there. Davy looks out the window. He sees the three guys running across the street. He's basically just living out a quick little something, right? Like, give us something
That's
like
a really
that.
good time. Okay.
That would have been way better.
Yeah.
So I guess the Alamo scene was just like, the Alamo scene could have been anywhere.
Hunch, sequel or prequel or spin-off to this movie?
My sister has a hunch.
No. Should really
boy,
change this.
That's tough.
One.
I'm surprised they didn't do the spinoff. Just an adventure of Jack Flack.
I really like Dabney Coleman's character.
Oh yeah, me too.
Jack
I like the
Black.
beginning too when the giant 20 die came down.
Rutger Hauer, the Switcher. Who would he play? Obviously,
Kim.
Dr. Rice.
Oh, Dr.
What?
Riceman. Rutger Hauer's gonna be so much better. She's like, you wouldn't want it, Mom. He's not your type.
Or how about this? If he played
Something he has, kids.
Rutger Hauer played Morris, and he's like staring at the child with his icy blue eyes, being like,
He never
"Now I got a
blinks.
very important mission for you."
Go get me Twinkies.
Man, I tell you what, Davey, regardless of seeing a dead body,
Yeah.
on that mission to get Rutger Hauer Twinkies,
Yes.
he would have came back immediately with those goddamn Twinkies.
Fuck yeah, I would have.
Steal from the evidence room. Obviously, the Cloak and Dagger Atari cartridge.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you would take.
That would be great.
Oh man, what would I take? I would take the wonky-tonky with the explosives in there.
Nice.
So I could cause some damage.
I think that this cold case has been solved. Should it be released for public record or redacted from public view?
Whoa, it should be released.
Yeah.
People need to see this movie.
Oh, something else I wanted to bring up here with Dabney Coleman. So he says several people still come up to him and say, "You don't know how much Cloak and Dagger from 1984 means to me and my son."
I never had anything like that with my dad.
No.
He was always just work, work, work.
I agree, because like my dad looked
you
a
agree
lot
with
like Dabney Coleman.
Really?
Yeah, he had a mustache, receding hairline, and everything,
Yeah.
gray around the ears. And I remember after watching this movie as a kid, I went up to him and I'm like, "Hey, Jack Flack,
Yeah.
Dad," and he's like, "Who the fuck is that?"